E-cigarettes and vapes were introduced as a better alternative to traditional cigarettes and a way to slowly quit smoking, but since their introduction, they have been the cause of a whole new generation of smokers, as there has been an unprecedented increase in the use of nicotine-containing products by young people, according to Brian A. King from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. In fact, a survey conducted by the New England Journal found that 1 in 4 high school seniors had used an e-cigarette in at least once within a 30-day period. Today, I will discuss the history of vapes, the calculated appeal of vapes towards teens, and disease linked to vaping. With this information, you know the dangers of vaping and why you shouldn't. Knowing this information can save you from addiction and death. Let's start at the beginning. Since the invention of cigarettes in the early 19th century, smoking was widely accepted by Americans. Consumers would smoke anywhere and anytime they felt like it. The Mental Health Foundation states nicotine creates an immense sense of relaxation, so people smoke in the belief that it will reduce stress and anxiety. This is why it was used as a remedy for stress. And consumers had not been made aware of the dangers of smoking, and smoking culture only became more ingrained in everyday life. Since 1964, according to an article by the American Lung Association, a voluntary health organization whose mission is to save lives by improving lung health, more than 20 million Americans had died from smoking-attributed illnesses. As the more people became aware of the harms of smoking cigarettes, their popularity slowed and new generations were not smoking. The trend of smoking was dying, and young adults were not smoking cigarettes at the rate their parents had. As stated in the article by the American Lung Association, cigarette smoking rates had fallen from 42.6% in 1965 to just 13.7% in 2018. But in 2015, the Juul was created. Juul is an American e-cigarette company and arguably one of the most infamous e-cigarette companies ever. Its creators are James Monsons and Adam Bowen. At the time of the company's start, they were actually graduate students looking for a way to quit smoking. And according to the Time article, Inside the Dangerous Rise of Juul, the device they created was the Juul. This small concealable e-cigarette began to quickly gain popularity. As stated in the scholarly article by FIU, a research center in minority institutions, Juul has virtually monopolized the e-cigarette company over the last few years, taking over 75% of e-cigarette sales and making more than $1 billion in sales in 2018. The vape became bigger than any other e-cigarette before its time. Juul's popularity came primarily from younger generation than cigarettes. The company was not only aware of this, but they wanted to capitalize off of this. In fact, Time magazine states, the company patented a vaping device with a built-in gaming mode. Now, I don't know who the target audience for this is other than young teens and children. With no surprise, the company did not move forward with creating this device. Now, although they did not create the device, Juul's popularity with children and teens only grew. According to FIU's article called How Juul Cooked the Generation in Nicotine, by 2018, 1 in 10 middle schoolers became e-cigarette users. Kids as young as 11 years old were now getting hooked on an addiction that would last a lifetime. The next topic I'll be discussing is the health risks linked with vaping. Like cigarettes, health risks and complications were common with vape users. These risks would not be linked until millions of Americans had already been hooked on this device. The American Lung Association says the most deadly of these complications would be cardiovascular disease. Vapes produce chemicals such as acetylide. This chemical is known to cause lung disease. When vaping, these dangerous chemicals enter one's body. Symptoms from vaping include increase in heart rate, and also vaping can cause an irregular heart rhythm. EVALI is another serious medical condition that results from vaping. As stated by Yale Medicine, a private research institution in New Haven, Connecticut, EVALI occurs when substances and chemicals in vapes enter the lungs. Substances and chemicals that shouldn't be there. Symptoms of EVALI are shortness of breath, cough, fevers, and chills. Lastly, Doctor of Medicine Travis S. Henry from the University of California and his colleagues at the New England Journal of Medicine found 4 imaging patterns that correlated with pathological findings attributed to vaping, including acute esophiliac pneumonia, diffuse alveolar damage, organized pneumonia, and lipoid pneumonia. A device once introduced as a better alternative to smoking is now revealed to pose its own health risks. Now, some may say vaping is actually helpful, and vaping can help wean adults out of cigarettes into an eventual end of smoking. And I can understand where this belief comes from, as the creators of Juul claimed it to be its initial purpose. But now, vape users are no longer vaping for this reason. In fact, according to the scholarly article by the Truth Initiative, a nonprofit tobacco control organization, just 1 in 5 tobacco smokers between ages 18 and 24 first tried the product to quit combustible tobacco. This is a minority in Juul users. The other 4 are just harming themselves without a reason to. Addiction can be extremely addictive and difficult to overcome, and I can understand why vaping may seem like the only option left to quit smoking. Let me tell you why this is incorrect. Developing a new addiction does not help combat the existing one. Not only does 1 Juul pod deliver the same amount of nicotine as a pack of 20 cigarettes, which makes them extremely addictive. According to Jamie Dirchman, a health correspondent and author of Inside the Rights of Juul, but their fruity and sweet flavored vapes make them much more appealing, causing more users to continue to vape. In conclusion, you have learned the history of vapes, the calculated appeal of vapes to teens, and the dangers linked to vaping. With this information, you can make a conscious, informed decision on whether or not vaping is just worth it. The lifelong consequences of vaping do not outweigh the short-lived satisfaction one gets from following the crowd. For teens listening, my main hope in my speech is that it saves you from an addiction you will regret investing not only your time on, but also your money. Thank you for listening.